Hello, my name is Jess and welcome to the Storyteller Fox. Come along and listen to read aloud books, be it for bedtime, story time, or simply to read along. Hello and welcome to the Storyteller channel. In today's story time, I will be reading you a book called Paddington and the Marmalade Maze by Michael Bond and illustrated by R.W. Alley. Paddington and the Marmalade Maze. Paddington and the Marmalade Maze by Michael Bond and illustrated by R.W. Alley. One day, Paddington's friend Mr. Gruber took him on an outing to a place called Hampton Court Palace. "I think you will enjoy it, Mr. Brown," he said as they drew near. "It's very old and it has over 1,000 rooms. Lots of kings and queens have lived here." Paddington always enjoyed his outings with Mr. Gruber and he couldn't wait to see inside the palace. As they made their way through an arch, Mr. Gruber pointed to a large clock. "That's a very special clock," he said. "It not only shows the time, it tells you what month it is." "Perhaps we should hurry, Mr. Gruber," said Paddington anxiously. "It's 1/2 June already." They hadn't been inside the palace very long before they had come across a room which had the biggest bed Paddington had ever seen. "Queen Anne used to sleep in it," said Mr. Gruber. "I expect they put the rope round it to stop her falling out when she had visitors," said Paddington, looking at all the people. "This is known as the Haunted Gallery," said Mr. Gruber. "They do say that when Catherine Howard's ghost passes by you, you can feel a cold draught." Paddington shivered. "I hope she's got a duffel coat like mine," he said. Mr. Gruber took Paddington to see the kitchen next. "In the old days, they used wood fires," he explained. "That's why there is such a high ceiling. There was a lot of smoke." "I was hoping they might have left some royal buns behind," said Paddington, licking his lips. "Talking of buns," said Mr. Gruber, "I think it's time we had our lunch." He led the way outside and they sat down together on the edge of a pool. As Paddington opened his suitcase, he accidentally dropped one of his sandwiches into the water. It was soon alive with goldfish. "They must like marmalade," said Mr. Gruber. "I wonder if that's how they got their name." When they had finished their sandwiches, Mr. Gruber took Paddington to see the grapevine. "It's very famous," he said. "Every year they pick over 500 bunches of grapes. Imagine that, Mr. Brown." "I'm trying to, Mr. Gruber," said Paddington. "I think I might plant a grape pip when I get back home." Mr. Gruber chuckled. "I'm afraid you will have a long wait, Mr. Brown," he said. "That vine is over 200 years old." "Now," said Mr. Gruber, "before we leave, we must visit the famous maze. Sometimes it takes people hours to find their way out." "I hope that doesn't happen to us," said Paddington. "My paws are getting tired." "Perhaps it's time I took you home," said Mr. Gruber. Much to his surprise, the words were no sooner out of his mouth than everyone around them began to talk. "Hey, that sounds a great idea," said a man in a striped shirt. Please to wait while I buy a new film for my camera," said a Japanese lady. "I've never been inside a real English home before," said another lady. "I wonder if they serve tea." "Oh dear," whispered Mr. Gruber. "They must think I'm one of the guides. What shall we do?" "Mrs. Bird won't be very pleased if they all follow us home," exclaimed Paddington. "She only has a small teapot." Then he had an idea. "Follow me," he called. "I think perhaps we ought to go in the maze after all. Are you sure we are going to do the right thing?" gasped Mr. Gruber as he hurried on behind. "Bears are good at mazes," said Paddington. "You need to be in the darkest Peru. The forests are very thick." And sure enough, before Mr. Gruber had time to say any more, Paddington led the way out, leaving everyone else inside. "However did you manage to do that, Mr. Brown?" gasped Mr. Gruber. "Quickest visit I've ever seen," agreed the man in the ticket office. "I used marmalade chunks to show where we have been," said Paddington. "It's something my Aunt Lucy taught me before she went into the home for retired bears." "But I thought you had eaten all your sandwiches," said Mr. Gruber. "I always keep a spare one under my hat in case I have an emergency," said Paddington. "That's something else Aunt Lucy taught me. She'll be very pleased when she hears." And he stopped at a kiosk to buy a picture postcard so that he could write and tell her all about his day out. That night, when he went to bed, as well as the postcard and a pen, Paddington took some rope. "It's something Queen Anne used to do," he announced. "I've a lot to tell Aunt Lucy and I don't want to fall out of bed before I've finished." I hope you've enjoyed the story. For more exciting stories, please remember to like and subscribe at the Storyteller channel. Bye for now. Possum Magic by Mem Fox and Julie Vivas. Possum Magic. Once upon a time, but not very long ago, deep in the Australian bush lived two possums. Their names were Hush and Grandma Poss. Grandma Poss made bush magic. She made wombats blue and kookaburras pink. She made dingoes smile and emus shrink. But the best magic of all was the magic that made Hush invisible. What adventures Hush had! Because she couldn't be seen, she could be squashed by koalas. Because she couldn't be seen, she could slide down kangaroos. Because she couldn't be seen, she was safe from snakes, which is why Grandma Poss had made her invisible in the first place. But one day, quite unexpectedly, Hush said, "Grandma, I want to know what I look like. Please, could you make me visible again?" "Of course I can," said Grandma Poss, and she began to look through her magic books. She looked into this book, and she looked into that. There was magic for thin, and magic for fat, and magic for tall, and magic for small. But the magic she was looking for wasn't there at all. Grandma Poss looked miserable. "Don't worry, Grandma," said Hush. "I don't mind." But in her heart of hearts, she did. All night long, Grandma Poss thought and thought. The next morning, just before breakfast, she shouted, "It's something to do with food. People food, not possum food. But I can't remember what. We'll just have to try and find it." So later that day, they left the bush where they'd always been to find what it was that would make Hush be seen. They ate Anzac biscuits in Adelaide, Mornay and Minties in Melbourne, steak and salad in Sydney, and pumpkin scones in Brisbane. Hush remained invisible. "Don't lose heart," said Grandma Poss. "Let's see what we can find in Darwin." It was there, in the far north of Australia, that they found a Vegemite sandwich. Grandma Poss crossed her claws and crossed her feet. Hush breathed deeply and began to eat. "A tail! A tail!" shouted both possums at once, for there it was, a brand new visible tail. Later, on a beach in Perth, they ate a piece of pavlova. Hush's legs appeared. So did her body. "You look wonderful, you precious possum," said Grandma Poss. Next stop, Tasmania, and over the sea they went. In Hobart, late one night, in the kitchen of the casino, they saw a lamington on a plate. Hush closed her eyes and nibbled. Grandma Poss held her breath and waited. "It's worked! It's worked!" she cried, and she was right. Hush could be seen from head to tail. Grandma Poss hugged Hush and they both danced. "Here we go round the lamington plate till early in the morning." From that time onwards, Hush was visible, but once a year on her birthday, she and Grandma Poss ate a Vegemite sandwich, a piece of pavlova, and half a lamington, just to make sure that Hush stayed visible forever. And she did.
Hello and welcome back to the Storyteller channel. Today's story time, we would be reading a book called The Bravest Penguin of All by Rena A. Forti and illustrated by Kathy Aberdeen. The Bravest Penguin of All. In Antarctica, it was the day of the Great Penguin Swim Race. All the penguins were excited, especially one, Little Blue Penguin. "I am going to be the first Little Blue Penguin ever to win this race," he said. "Goodness gracious," said Emperor Penguin. "You are much too small to win." "Indeed," said King Penguin, sniffing the salty air. "A champion needs to be big like me." "And me," said Marconi Penguin, as he puffed out his white chest. But Little Blue Penguin was determined. "I can do it," she whispered to herself, and tobogganed to the starting line at the edge of the bay. Gannet Bird swooped down and perched on a rocky ledge. "Ready, penguins?" she squawked. "On your marks, get set, go!" The penguins dived into the icy sea with a huge splash. The bigger penguins leaped in and out of the water, splashing and splattering Little Blue Penguin. "Out of my way!" shouted Imperial Penguin. "Catch me if you can!" chuckled King Penguin. "You'll never make it," said Marconi Penguin. But Little Blue Penguin was determined. "I can do it," she whispered to herself, and swam even faster. The crowd of penguins cheered and cheered. But suddenly the cheering stopped. There was an eerie silence. Little Blue Penguin felt something was wrong, so she paddled to the nearest iceberg and hopped on. "What is that monstrous black lump?" she asked. "Oh!" squawked Gannet Bird as she swooped down to land on the iceberg. "It's a whale!" Little Blue Penguin stared and stared. "It's not just a whale," she said. "It's a killer whale." I must warn the others, said Little Blue Penguin, and dived off the iceberg. She torpedoed through the water. Danger, danger, cried Little Blue Penguin. There's a killer whale right behind us. Oh, he's coming for us, cried King Penguin with a quivering beak. Help, cried Emperor Penguin, huffing and puffing in fear. What are we going to do? Asked Marconi Penguin. Little Blue Penguin paddled in front of them. Everything will be all right, she promised. But everything was not all right. The killer whale leaped out of the sea and hit the water with a gigantic smack. With wide snapping jaws, he circled the penguins. But Little Blue Penguin called out, Hey, killer whale, she said, watch this, and she ducked underwater. What was Little Blue Penguin up to? Emperor Penguin was almost too afraid to peek. King Penguin was afraid to peek, and Marconi Penguin could only watch. Little Blue Penguin started spinning round and round and round and made a mighty whirlpool. The killer whale's eyes spun round and round and round. He grew dizzier and dizzier and dizzier. Then Little Blue Penguin crept onto the killer whale's back. She stuck her beak into his ear, took a deep breath, and let out a thundering boom. The killer whale was terrified, so terrified that he zigzagged off in the opposite direction. Emperor Penguin leaped for joy. King Penguin rejoiced and cried penguin tears. Marconi Penguin was just amazed. Little Blue Penguin paddled back to shore. By now the entire colony of penguins had gathered to cheer Little Blue Penguin to the rescue, and they chanted over and over again. Gannet Bird ruffled her feathers. Attention, one and all, she squawked. The champion of the Great Penguin Swim Race is Little Blue Penguin, the first Little Blue Penguin ever to win the race. And everybody cheered and cheered and cheered. The end. I hope you've enjoyed the story. For lots more exciting stories, please remember to like and subscribe at the Storyteller channel. Bye for now.
Hello and welcome to the Storyteller channel. In today's story time, I will be reading you a song and reading you a story called The Duck Song by Bryant Odden and illustrations by Forrest Whaley. The Duck Song. Tell me the duck story. A duck walked up to a lemonade stand and he said to the man running the stand, Hey, got any grapes? The man said, No, we just sell lemonade, but it's cold and it's fresh and it's all homemade. Can I get you a glass? The duck said, I'll pass. Then he waddled away, waddle waddle, till the very next day. When the duck walked up to the lemonade stand and he said to the man running the stand, Hey, got any grapes? The man said, No, like I said yesterday, we just sell lemonade, okay? Why not give it a try? The duck said, Goodbye. Then he waddled away, waddle waddle, till the very next day. When the duck walked up to the lemonade stand and he said to the man running the stand, Hey, got any grapes? The man said, Look, this is getting old. I mean, lemonades were all we've ever sold. Why not give it a go? The duck said, How about no? Then he waddled away, waddle, till the very next day. When the duck walked up to the lemonade stand and he said to the man running the stand, "Hey, got any grapes?" The man said, "That's it. If you don't stay away, duck, I'll glue you to a tree and leave you there all day, stuck. So don't get too close." The duck said, "Adios." Then he waddled away, waddle, till the very next day. When the duck walked up to the lemonade stand and he said to the man running the stand, "Hey, got any glue?" "What? Got any glue? No, why would I?" "Oh, then one more question for you. Got any grapes?" And the man just stopped. Then he started to smile, he started to laugh, he laughed for a while. He said, "Come on, duck, let's walk to the store. I'll buy you some grapes so you don't have to ask anymore." So they walked to the store and the man bought some grapes. He gave one to the duck and the duck said, "No thanks." "But you know what sounds good? It would make my day. Do you think this store has any lemonade?" Then he waddled away. Waddle, then he waddled away. Waddle. Thank you so much for watching. For more exciting stories, please remember to like and subscribe at the Storyteller channel. Bye for now.
The end. And that's the end of our story time. For more bedtime stories, you can check on our YouTube playlist or listen to more Storytime compilations at the Storyteller Fox. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time.